What's up, everybody? Today is Friday, April 7th, 2023. This is A Talk in the Attic, and I'm your host, Kirk Ross, coming at you with a special one today. I'm currently inside courtroom 56G of the Supreme Court building on Capitol Hill, because today I'm bringing you a live look into the little-known judiciary that specializes in the interpretation and resolution of cases brought to usicl, better known as the United States Interspecies Court of Law, better yet known as Animal Court. Oh, and it looks like the judge is about to enter the courtroom, so I'm going to shut up. I would say that we'll just be flies on the wall, but there are a handful of frogs over there in the gallery who have already begun eyeing me up at the very thought. So instead, let's start the show. This is the plaintiff, Brianna Billingsley, a known queen bee in charge of a hive of nearly 50,000 bees. She claims that the defendant has been besmirching her good name all around town, and it's costing her money. She's hoping the judge will see it her way today because she's sick of carrying the baggage of a completely different species. She's suing for a 50 square foot keep-out zone around her hive in central Utah, plus legal fees. And this is the defendant, Hank Havlicek, a hornet. He says he can't help it that he looks like a honeybee. He says the plaintiff is just using her royalty status in the courts to settle an old vendetta. It's not the first time he's been mistreated because of how he looks, just more of the same speciesism that's been happening since the dawn of time, he says. He is countersuing the plaintiff for legal fees. Uh-oh, this one is gonna sting.
All rise for the Honorable Owl T. Blankenship.
Ho, be seated. In the case of Billingsley vs. Havlicek, all parties are present. Excuse me, Miss Billingsley, who are these other 7 bees standing up here with you?
These are my attendants, Owl. They never leave my side.
Well, unless they all went to law school, they can't be up there with you. And you will address the court by your honor, not Owl, Miss Billingsley.
Then the court will address me as Your Highness, Your Honor.
Wow, the judge did not like that.
Mr. Havlicek, you're being accused by Her Highness of impersonating her species and causing irreparable harm to her neighborhood's property value. What do you have to say about that? Hey, listen, Judge. I'm just a hornet trying to make it in a world that hates hornets. I've been underestimated my whole life. Kids run at our very sight. You know, humans actually buy a product specifically called Wasp Killer? So it's no surprise that I'm getting speciesism here, and from a honeybee nonetheless. Nothing new at all, Your Honor. Your Highness, what say you?
Your Honor, these hornets are dangerous predators looking to sting anything in the radius. They think they can act like thugs just because they kinda pollinate? I mean, come on.
But honeybees, you sting too, don't you?
Yes, on occasion we do sting, but only when provoked. Like if something's coming near our cash crop, the nectar of the gods, grade A, sweet, delicious, organic honey. When's the last time a hornet produced such a valuable condiment?
Oh, we only sting when we're provoked too, and you know it.
Yeah, well, what are you even protecting? Your shitty paper houses or those little bunkers you build in the ground?
Order! Order in the court. You will address me and only me. No crosstalk. Your Honor, what exactly is her point?
My point is, Your Honor, that I don't want my hive associating with his hive. Rumor has it there's been mating rituals happening between our two kinds, and that just ain't right. Last week I found my oldest daughter, she's already 3 weeks old, dipping her rear end into some honey, and when I asked her what she was doing, she said, I'm trying to look more like Harry Havlicek.
Now who is Harry Havlicek? My son, Your Honor.
This is getting good.
That's right, his son, Your Honor. I grew up in a world where we respected the natural boundaries that God had put in place for us. I didn't ask my queen if I could go to homecoming with a hornet. It just ain't right, it's disgusting.
Your Honor, if I may, proceed. Her Highness is right. She did grow up in a world where bees and hornets didn't interact with one another. And because of that, she's afraid. She's afraid of me. She's afraid of losing power. Her kids eventually are going to find out that hornets have multiple queens per hive, and we're doing just fine. So who's to say that the plaintiff here won't share the throne as well someday? She's afraid. She's afraid. And I'm afraid too. And when we hornets get afraid, we start a stinging. But I'm not here to sting. I'm here for a peace offering. We're not that different, bees and hornets. Sure, hornets get a bad name. Hell, we thought our kind was doomed when our NBA team got renamed to the Pelicans. And no, we can't compete with their honey production. We just can't. That stuff is delicious, it really is. And when you're eating it, it almost makes you forget that what you're eating is actually a secretion from an animal. So we can't make honey. But that doesn't mean we're good for nothing. And it doesn't mean that we're less thans. And guess what? We got our NBA team back too, baby. Go Hornets! Order! Order!
You know, Your Honor, and while we're on the subject, I don't like the way these hornets dance either. Shaking their money makers all over the sky, just giving it away.
Well, I think I've heard enough here. I'm ready to rule. I've been on the bench a lot of years. 9 to be exact. And this isn't the first time some privileged queen bee has come in flapping its wings just because she thinks she's better than some other insect. This is usicl, darling. The United States Interspecies Court of Law. Do you have any idea how many cases I've got on my docket? I'm sitting on over 250 million wrongful death suits being brought by ants against humans just from the past year. I'm presiding over a dozen public urination cases against dogs this afternoon alone. This court's time is far too precious to be wasting it on some specious hogwash like this. Woo, woo, woo. Order! Order! Thank you, Your Honor. And now I'm going to address you, B. Mr. Havlicek is nearly 40 days old. He doesn't have much time left. I better not see you in my courtroom wasting the precious time of some poor defendant ever again. Understood?
Well, I just...
Am I understood? In the case of Billingsley v. Havlicek, I find in favor of the defendant, Hank Havlicek, and order Her Highness to pay all of the Hornet's legal fees, including restitution for his travel expenses here today. Now, how much were those travel expenses, Mr. Havlicek? That's $712 and some odd change, Your Honor. Now, how does a Hornet spend $712 and some odd change just by flying here? I flew Delta, Your Honor. Non-stop round trip from Salt Lake to D.C. Wow. Well, I guess I expected that you just fly with your wings. Anywho, plaintiff is hereby ordered to pay the defendant in the amount of $712 and some odd change, plus legal fees, which should be no problem at all for a queen. Court is adjourned. All right. Next up on Animal Court. The plaintiff is a stubborn old ox who doesn't want to change, suing his employer, a human farmer, for forcing new work hours onto him after all these years. Move over, old MacDonald, because this case has E-I-E-I-O written all over it. And after that, the surviving members of a family of fleas is suing a golden retriever and its owners for wrongful eviction. They claim they should have been given notice before being forced out of their home. The defendant claims it's his right to wear whatever collar he wants, even if it's a collar that kills fleas. Scandalous. Legal fees? More like legal fleas.
All right, folks, these both sound like interesting cases, but I think that's probably enough Animal Court for one episode, so I'm going to shut down the recording and check these two cases out, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out, everybody.